Live from the capital Nairobi, this is KUTV Primetime News. Now, a lot has been happening in the country and beyond our borders, and we are here to bring you up to speed with exactly that. But before we do so, here are some of the stories making headlines tonight. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, leads KDF Day celebrations in Laikipia County. President William Ruto hands his allies Plum State House jobs in what seemed as rewarding his loyalists. Millions of mobile subscribers rushed to register their SIM cards before the closure of the exercise on the 15th of October. And Kenyatta University students treated to an administration and management public lecture on public debt. A warm welcome to the broadcast. I'm in the company of Makrine Chiang, who's our sign language interpreter for the night, and I go by the name Daphne Orina. Let's get started. President William Ruto has promised KDF soldiers that he is ready to make their work easier by improving their way of living as he presided over this year's Kenya Defence Forces Day, which is his first military event since coming into office. The Army marked its 11th KDF Day, an annual celebration of the acts of valor and gallantry of KDF heroes at Laikipia Air Base.
President Ruto landed at Laikipia Air Base in Nanyuki to celebrate KDF Day, where he was received by the Chief of Defence Forces, General Robert Kibicho, and the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. KDF Day is an annual celebration that is done to commemorate KDF soldiers' bravery and sacrifice in the line of duty. President Ruto in his speech praised the KDF soldiers, saying their work is notable. He also noted that the government will continue to invest in police by provision of training and education, and promised to equip them more to ensure they guard the borders fully.
We are proud of your achievements as Kenya's unique ambassadors and proud champions of the Kenyan winning way.
The president unveiled a commemorative monument at the base in honor of fallen KDF heroes and heroines. Ruto also noted that the needs of KDF soldiers and those of their families will be looked into as they are a priority. This special day has been observed since October 2012, following the launch of Operation Linda Nchi in October 2011. Last year, Kahawa Garrison hosted the 10th KDF Day anniversary that was presided over by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. For KUTV, I am Teresia Maluki.
Well, now, in what seemed as rewarding loyalists, President William Ruto has today made 10 new appointments to the Executive Office of the President as those who will be working closely with the head of state in performing day-to-day activities, as Eugene Mayabi explains.
Thank you very much.
With the office of the president regarded as the strongest arm of government in the land, President William Ruto has today appointed his kitchen cabinet members, including a team that he used to campaign closely with. Among the biggest winners include Felix Koskei, who replaces Joseph Kinyo as the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service, former Turkana Governor Josephat Nanok, who was the Director General of the Kenya Kwanza Presidential Campaign Team, as Deputy Chief of Staff, while economist David Ndii has been appointed as the chairperson of the President's Council of Economic Advisers. Augustine Cheriot takes the position of the Senior Advisor and Head of Economic Transformation and Secretariat. Former Treasury Principal Secretary Kamau Thuge makes a comeback to government after his appointment as the Senior Advisor and Head of Fiscal Affairs and Budget Policy, while former National Bank Chairman Mohamed Hassan has been appointed a member of the President's Council of Economic Advisors. Other appointees are Nancy Leibuni, who has been appointed an associate member of President's Council of Economic Advisors, Kato Ole Mitito, who now becomes the new State House Comptroller, former Citizen TV journalist Hussein Mohammed as State House spokesperson, with David Mugonyi taking the position of Head of Presidential Communications Service. The appointment comes as the vetting of Cabinet Secretary nominees is set to begin on Monday 17th of this month. Eugene Mayabi, KUTV.
Millions of mobile subscribers face being disconnected from the telephone lines once a state deadline, which was issued by the Communications Authority of Kenya (CAK), elapses tomorrow. The registration is part of Communication Authority efforts to ensure that network providers meet their target of 100% compliance with the Kenya Information and Communications Regulation 2015. The authority in April this year extended the period for subscribers to update their SIM card registration details by a further 6 months due to public decry.
Large queues were the order of the day at different communication outlets here in Nairobi as more mobile users trooped to take part in the ongoing SIM card registration exercise. The rush is similar to that witnessed in the days to the initial deadline of April 15th that saw the Communications Authority of Kenya extend the deadline by 6 months to allow more mobile subscribers to register their SIM cards. Kenyans have highly appreciated the move by the Communication Authority of Kenya, highly noting that the move will highly reduce fraud cases. On the same note, Kenyans have called upon Communication Authority to postpone its planned deactivation of all unregistered SIM cards to ensure the exercise accommodates every Kenyan.
Mimi naona si mbaya koza yenyewe ukora na ilikuwa imezidi. Nafaa kila mtu aregister line yake. Manake uhalifu online bullness sometimes mtu anachukua ID yako na register na ya mwingine ambao haifai.
Mimi kitu naona serikali ingefaa wasongeze muda wa hii registration ya line because maybe kuna watu wengine hata hawajui.
The move seeks to weed out mobile phone fraudsters beside helping prevent the use of registered SIMs belonging to dead persons for fraud. Israel Omwai, KUTV.
Moving on swiftly, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's son, General Muhoozi, has apologized to President William Ruto over his recent tweets that kicked off a massive diplomatic storm online. In a tweet posted on his Twitter handle, he said he has never had any beef to settle with Kenya's head of state. This comes a fortnight after the general, in a series of tweets, talked of Uganda's military plan to allegedly capture Nairobi.
2 weeks ago, Kenyans engaged Uganda on a Twitter war over General Muhoozi's remarks that sparked mixed reactions. In his tweets, Muhoozi said he would only need 2 weeks with his army to capture Nairobi. And I quote, "After our army captures Nairobi, where should I live? Westlands, Riverside. I am happy that members of our district in Kenya have responded enthusiastically to my tweet. It's still 2 weeks to Nairobi." End of quote. The general, in his apologetic tweet posted on Thursday evening, said he has never had any beef to settle with Kenya's President William Ruto, and I quote, "I have never had any problem with Afande Ruto. If I made a mistake anywhere, I ask him to forgive me as his young brother. God bless East Africa." End of quote. The 48-year-old general controversial tweet prompted Kenya's Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary nominee Alfred Mutua to hold talks with Uganda High Commissioner to Kenya, Ambassador Dr. Hassan Galiwango, on the matter. General Muhoozi remarks could threaten regional balance. Be it remembered that Kenya and Uganda have found themselves in a bitter war of words since the days of Idi Amin reign on border disputes and President Museveni and the late President Mwai Kibaki on Migingo Island. Joseph Thuku reporting for KUTV.
That's an interesting one. Elsewhere, a non-gunman shot and killed a bodyguard linked to Ida Odinga, the wife to the opposition leader Raila Odinga, in Kisumu this morning. According to reports, Barak Jaraha was shot dead at approximately 5 a.m. at his home in Mamboleo district of Kisumu West Sub-County, which is located near Odinga's residence. Karanja Muiruri, the commander of the Nyanza Regional Police, confirmed the occurrence, adding an investigation is ongoing to determine the circumstance behind the aide's death. As inquiries into the event continue, the security guard's body was transported to the mortuary at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. Moving on swiftly, students at Kenyatta University were treated to the second annual Kenyatta University and African Association for Public Administration and Management public lecture on public debt. The talk with the public debt in Kenya under COVID-19 shocks come about at a time when Kenya's public debt, as measured by debt to gross domestic product, has risen significantly in the last decade.
Kenya's debt registry, as at the end of last year, shows gross public debt crossed the 8 shilling trillion mark to stand at 8.2 trillion against the country's nominal gross domestic product estimated at 10.7 trillion shillings. It is on this pedestal that the Kenyatta University, through the Department of Public Administration, held a public lecture to address the topic of public debt and its effect on current and future generations.
The question is, can we tell the level of deficit that we need to sustain debt sustainability?
The talk, attended by key stakeholders including county governments, ministries, agencies, development partners, media, among others, aimed at increasing public participation as enshrined in Article 201 of the Constitution on public finance.
The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in an economic and labor market shock, impacting not only supply, which is the production of goods and services, but also demand, which is the consumption and investment. This phenomenon has depressed the circular flow of income, leaving many governments, including Kenya, resulting in borrowing domestically and internationally in order to finance budget deficits.
The risk of heavy debt burden appears aggravated by recent announcements by the National Treasury that county governments will be allowed to borrow, albeit with national government guarantees.
We all love multilateral debt because it is highly concessional. And being highly concessional, it means that the debt burden that would come with such debt is low. However, multilateral debt may not allow you to do a lot of investments.
For emerging and developing economies, a debt limit of not more than 64% of the country's GDP is advised. Kenya has already broken through the proposed ceiling, with the National Treasury estimating the present value of Kenya's public debt as a proportion of the GDP for 2022 at 64.2%. The Kenyatta University has in the recent past signed collaborations and partnership agreements to foster knowledge sharing across institutions, with the public debt being among the subjects requiring a better illumination. Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
Well, the taxpayers' debt continues to be a pinch felt across Kenya's taxpayers. The question left to be asked is, what will Kenya do to repay that debt? We take another break at these 18 minutes, but the top of the hour. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
Of cooking the same thing over and over again, and in this new season we are going to be learning how to prepare a particular ingredient in 2 or more different ways. I'm your chef and host, John International 254, and this is our delicacy show.
Leo tutakuwa tunazamia uhondo wa ushairi huku Kiswahilini, ngoma za jadi.
Ushairi ni wimbo mrefu na wimbo ni shairi refu.
Utamtongozaje mwanamke kama hujui hiyo ushairi?
Nitawapa tu shairi moja la Kitaliano hapo. Penso che un sogno così non mi ritorni mai più, mi dipingevo le vani e la faccia di blu.
Nimetamani ukoko ule wa wali chunguni.
Niteseka na penzi langu, mama masikini moyo wangu.
Sasa nimeupe tayari kwa mavuno, unishibishe chakula cha uzima, ni yule atakayekaa katika hema yako.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Let's carry on. The chairman of the National Council of Non-Governmental Organizations, Mr. Stephen Cheboy, has appealed to the government and well-wishers to support counties affected by drought, especially in the northern parts of Kenya. The chairman also recognized the role played by the NGOs and called on the county governments of the affected counties to prioritize the resources they have to help cool the adverse effects of the ravaging drought.
Appeal to both the national and county government to prioritize resources and, more importantly, sustainable measures. And our appeal to both the national and county government to prioritize resources and, more importantly, sustainable measures. And our our appeal to both the national and county government to prioritize resources and, more importantly, sustainable measures. And our appeal to both the national and county government to prioritize resources and, more importantly, sustainable measures. And our appeal to both the national and county government to prioritize.
That aside, residents of Narok County grappling with the worst effect of the ongoing drought got some reprieve today after Her Excellency Madam Dorcas Gachagua, in collaboration with the Kenya Red Cross, flagged off relief food distribution to areas worst hit by drought in Narok as a way to lessen the severe effects of the drought cases currently being experienced in the areas prone to drought.
In an effort to reduce the harsh drought effects in Narok County, Her Excellency Madam Dorcas Gachagua, in collaboration with Kenya Red Cross, have today flagged off relief food destined for the arid and semi-arid areas in Narok, which are hardest hit by drought. Ms. Dorcas stating that the flag-off will hopefully be the last one, since the government is seeking to put measures to permanently curb the situation.
We don't want next year to be standing here. We want to have sustainable efforts that will be able to eliminate or eradicate the kind of famine and relief giving all the time.
It is estimated that over 4.35 million people are in need of assistance. 942,000 children under the age of 5 years, together with 134,000 pregnant or lactating women, are acutely malnourished. The number of people affected by drought is expected to rise to over 5 million by the end of the year if there will be no rainfall. Kenya Red Cross Secretary General Aisha Mohammed also calls on Kenyans of goodwill to support the food distribution initiative.
We appreciate the overwhelming support from Kenyans, and indeed, up to 50% of the food we have distributed since the drought started early last year and before then during the COVID-19 response has been courtesy of donations from Kenyans, and many of whom are also still here today.
So far, there are 23 counties which are affected by drought, 9 of which are regarded as worstly affected. They include Laikipia, Isiolo, Mandera, Garissa, Turkana, Wajir, Nyeri, Samburu and Marsabit.
All these people have committed to continue giving, and others are giving. The next station will be, this one is going to Narok, we will be going to Makueni, we are going to go to Ithanga, we are going to go to Isiolo, we are going to make sure that nobody dies. Because once a life is lost, we cannot bring it back.
The relief food was the outcome of an initiative meeting between Her Excellency Dorcas Gachagua in partnership with Kenya Red Cross, private organizations, agents and various individuals. Eugene Mayabi, KUTV.
Still on stories relating to hunger pangs, Kenyans are at risk of not addressing the food scarcity situation in the country. And this was the footnote by Kenya University Biotechnology Consortium calling for a national dialogue on the genetically modified foods debate, noting that there is a short-sighted approach on the matter.
We are again about to make another mistake and continue losing instead of discussing the right things. Discuss the technology, discuss its efficiency, discuss how the seeds will, the pricing. Let's discuss about the scope, because matters about pricing of seed. Even right now, farmers are buying hybrid seeds. So I don't know why it becomes more swaggy and trendy to only discuss about prices when it comes to GMO.
I urge all to help the current government to fix the food security situation in the country in order that we should not see any Kenyan dying of hunger. We know that GM technology itself cannot guarantee this, but as we said earlier, it's a complementary technology that will enhance food availability and lower prices for the final consumer.
With bottom up as the slogan of action, the Kenya Kwanza government promised a 50 billion shillings kitty, coined the Hustlers Fund, to boost small businesses with loans that require no security, citing that the threat posed by corruption circles are being championed as the best channel to stream the bottom to the top.
Promised a new economic order that will address unemployment and lack of opportunities for youth, pledging to pump billions of shillings in support for sectors such as the boda and small retailers.
We will make the Hustler Fund Sharia compliant, so you don't have to worry about that. And we are actually going to make sure that it is devolved and it will be operationalized at every ward. It will not even be at the county. The Hustler Fund operating unit will be at the ward so that many people can have access to it.
After securing office, the president moved to fulfill a campaign pledge he made to low-income earners, popularly referred to as hustlers, by signaling the establishment of a fund that will provide them with collateral-free cheap credit to start businesses. The 50 billion shillings annual kitty is to be channeled towards supporting micro, small and medium enterprises, providing cheap and easy loans with no need for security.
I've also seen the president bringing back the Ministry of Cooperatives and has combined that Ministry of Cooperatives together with the SMEs. And that means that the Hustler Fund will most likely come through cooperatives.
In concern over the fund's dissemination and the risk of corruption plaguing the novelty, calls are out for the Kenya Kwanza government to channel funds through well-structured circles. Amika Sacco Chief Executive Officer Mr. James Mbui observes that circles are mostly composed of membership of low-income earners and especially from grassroots, and thus are well suited to ensure the funds are easily accessed by the ordinary mwananchi.
Cooperatives are the best financial systems that should get the money down to the ordinary person on the ground.
The new administration, through the fund, is looking to combat unemployment, which has been a major pain point for the youth, with many Kenyans grappling with high cost of living struggle to meet the cost of inputs and high cost of food and fuel, among other items that have hurt lower income households the most. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Away from that, the Kenya shilling remained stable against the major international and regional currencies during the week ending October 13th, exchanging at 120 shillings and 94 cents per dollar, with the economy recording a 5.2% growth. This and more in our business roundup. The Kenya Revenue Authority has netted 465.2 billion shillings in taxes through the first 3 months of the 2022-2023 financial year to September. This to represent an 11.6% growth in exchequer revenue, as reported in new data from the National Treasury. The rise in tax collection is attributable to improved economic conditions following the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, apart from digitization and improved compliance from taxpayers to raise nettings from taxes. And within the corridors of money, the board of Absa Bank Kenya has named the lender's chief finance officer Yusuf Omari as interim CEO effective from November 1st this year. Omari is set to replace Jeremy Awori, who steps down as CEO after nearly a decade on October 31st this year, after he was subsequently named as the new chief executive officer of Togolese Ecobank Group. On another tale of change, British multinational Diageo is seeking to acquire an additional 14.97% stake in the East African Breweries Limited, worth about 22.7 billion, which will see its shareholding rise to 65%. The London-based firm indirectly holds a 50.03% stake, representing 395.6 million shares in EABL through its wholly owned subsidiary Diageo Kenya, and will have controlling majority should the deal go through. Finally, according to the Central Bank Weekly Bulletin, the economy recorded strong performance in the second quarter of 2022, supported by the non-agriculture sectors, growing by 5.2%, supported by strong activity in financial and insurance, transportation and storage, wholesale and retail trade, real estate and construction sectors. Liquidity in the money market decreased during the week ending October 13th as tax remittances more than offset government payments. The usable foreign exchange reserves remained adequate, meeting CBK's statutory requirement to endeavor to maintain at least 4 months of import cover. Moving on swiftly, Ankara or Kitenge, which is the textile used to make African prints, has become an icon for African identity and gained international attention. One young designer started a tailoring shop that makes Ankara attire in Nairobi, Kenya, in an effort to meet both domestic and international needs.
Cabin crew, and I've worked before as a waitress. There was a lot of sexual harassment because of the kind of clothes we are wearing. So somebody can come and just punk you, but you can't complain. Why? Because that's not your job. One day I just woke up, resigned, and I said because I had enough training as a fashion and designer, like a tailor, I got tired with that job and told them, you know what, it's enough.
Just like that, Cecilia Awoko quit her 9-to-5 job and opened this designer shop in Jericho Market in Nairobi, Kenya. In 3 years, she expanded into 2 shops and hired a couple people to support her business. I paid a visit to her shop and decided to become a customer myself.
You like this because it's your outfit, you're the one who's going to wear it.
I like
so you tell me.
With the kind of service she offers, a customer can pick the fabrics, learn about the culture.
African prints came from Western Africa, but with Nigerians and Ghanaians, they like bright colors. But you can still get this one's African prints because they started with some things like this. Just give up.
Communicate with her on the design, get measurements, fitting, and adjustment in a week. Awoko says her experience as a mom inspired her to create mother-daughter matching outfits.
She's my model because she was a tiny Miss Kenya 2016. So she's really good with photos. And sometimes she helped me to do the finishing. And then when we're done, we are our own models. We market our things by ourselves. Like I don't hire models to wear my brand. We are our own brand. Yeah, so she really helped me a lot because you realize most of the clients, they'll order outfits because of her, not because of me. Because even now, if you see we are matching, you just note, wow, you guys look good. Can I get the same outfit?
I like modeling for my mom. Especially she calls me a lot because I really give her a lot of clients. My favorite part is putting the buttons, putting the pockets, and designing it.
Just like many entrepreneurs, Cecilia Awoko has gone through many adversities in the effort to run her own company. Her inspiration, though, has been able to work on her passion, gain financial freedom, promote African identity, along with unlimited growth potential, things she could never get from her previous jobs.
It was a risk, because if that did happen, I don't think I could have resigned where I was working. So yes, and I'm just grateful that I'm doing what I like. I'm making people smile. So I started this brand because of that. Trust me, I won't disappoint you.
Well, at that, we take another break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today.
Huyo mdogo sana anataka majani yale mepesi. Tunampatia hayo majani kama yamekatakatwa kama mboga ili yaweze kutambaa na kuyakula kwa upole tu. Mista ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu anaanza kukula matawi makubwa kiasi. Lakini anapoendelea kuwa mkubwa utakuta tunakata paka sasa twigs. Hatutoi matawi yenyewe.
Staying with us. Let's now cross over to Nyahururu sub-county where a multi-agency security team has impounded a shipment of illegal alcohol that was being unloaded from some vehicles in a homestead. The multi-agency security team arrived at the scene after receiving a tip from the community and also that suspicious vehicles were unloading some alcohol crates in the Manguo area, which is on the outskirts of Nyahururu town. 2 suspects have been detained at the Nyahururu police station for arraignment in court. And Tom Boya Okoth, the commander of the Nyahururu sub-county police, has also praised the locals for providing the police with information. The assorted drinks seized include Kenya King, Ferrari Ice, Santana, Mara Ice, among others.
Wananchi wote kwa jumla watupashe habari tupate depot distilling depot, alafu tuta make sure we raid na tumemaliza hiyo pombe kabisa. Endelea kuwahimiza wananchi kwamba wakiona vitu kama hizi, sio hii peke yake, hata miadarati waweze kutujulisha ili tuweze kuchukua hatua.
Elsewhere, 3 people have died in Machakos County after a hole they were harvesting sand from sank. The 3 were dug out by the help of villagers who are blaming the local administration for their predicaments, noting that this is not the first of such occurrences.
The trio got stuck behind the deep excavation wall of a quarry where they were gathering sand. 2 died on the scene while 1 was transported to Machakos Level 5 Hospital where he died while receiving treatment.
Nilikuwa pale chini, nikasikia watu wakipiga nduru, wakipanda hivi, wakikimbia. Nikaulizia ni nini, nikasikia kuna watu wamefunikwa pale kwa ile mchanga inachimbwa hapo juu. Kukimbia, tulianza kuwatafuta. It took almost 2 hours.
Residents, on the other hand, claim that the local chief has remained mute on the matter of prohibiting sand harvesting, despite the fact that this is not the first time such a catastrophe has occurred. They have also accused county askaris of extorting money from lorries transporting sand, stating that this contributes to sand harvesting in the region.
Kanzo inachukua access hapo, says revenue
lakini saa zile wamekuja hapa wanasema is illegal. Hiyo roli huwa zinapita hapo, hata walikuwa hapo kitambo hiyo accident ikue mpaka hiyo roli ikatoroka. Mimi naulizia kweli huwa wanafanya nini hapo? Ama tu ni ile serikali ilikuwa ya pesa mkono nyuma? Kwa watu wameumia, washakufa, lakini sasa ni illegally na kuna watu wanachukua sasa hapo.
Residents assisted police in retrieving the dead, who were then transported to Machakos Level 5 Hospital morgue.
Watu wamekuwa wakichimba mchanga, nafikiri ni kwa sababu ya shida ya maisha mahali ilifika. Lakini sasa ule mchanga wanachimba, kuna hatari kubwa, wanahatarisha maisha yao. Na tungeomba kama kungekuwa na mpango mzuri tu kuelimisha hatari ambao wanaweza kukubana na.
Shy in front of the camera, Machakos Sub-County Police Commander Mos Thiwa admonished villagers against gathering sand in such risky excavations and stated that this will not happen again. For KUTV, I am Teresia Maluki.
Quite an unfortunate incident right there. Moving on swiftly, a Mombasa court has ordered that the body of a British tourist who passed away mysteriously while seeking spiritual healing while on holiday be exhumed. Miss Lufusina Kandawala, 44 years old, a British citizen, passed away suddenly while traveling in the nation in 2020.
Miss Lufunisa Kandwala passed away on August 2nd, 2020 in Mombasa County and was laid to rest in the Memon Cemetery the next day. It is alleged that the devil killed her as a spiritual leader sought to assist her when she was visiting her husband's family in Mombasa. Due to the lockdown imposed by the Kenyan government to stop the spread of the COVID-19, her flight back to the UK was delayed. The exhumation was ordered by Senior Resident Magistrate Rita Aurora after the family of the deceased petitioned the court alleging foul play. The magistrate has mandated that security be provided for the exhumation by the officer commanding Central Police Station OCS. The Director of Criminal Investigations DCI officials also must be present at the gravesite for exhumation, according to a court order that was also issued.
Murdered, and inshallah, this is what we are trying to find out, what exactly happened to my sister while she was in Mombasa. And alhamdulillah, we have a lot of help from the police, and we also have a help from the community, and hopefully inshallah very soon we will get to know what actually happened to her.
Additionally, the family has been given permission to hire a private pathologist to act as its representative throughout the exhumation and post-mortem procedure. Imran Admani, the deceased brother, submitted the application through Jacinta Wekesa, his attorney. For KUTV, I am Susan Wayaki.
Across borders, as the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, the other small ex-Soviet republics watch the advancing Ukrainian army with hope, but also with concern. The fear that Russia could one day fall on them is palpable and has led to the mobilization of civil society, such as with volunteer groups.
Karen Larma is a bank worker, mother of a 13-year-old girl, and for the last 4 years, a volunteer in the Estonian Defense League, a group of Estonian volunteers who receive military training in their spare time and whose aim is to support the Estonian army in an emergency. Here, they learn what is necessary to respond to a possible invasion.
I have learned that I'm capable of so much more than I thought before I joined the Estonian Defense League. I know that I can manage in the forest, and I'm really good with guns.
Today, the volunteers have their first contact with what will be their new American-made assault rifle. Once they master its use, they will be able to have it in their homes, a measure aimed at providing a quick response to a possible enemy attack, something that they tell us has much to do with the tactics learned by observing the Ukrainian army from a distance.
I think the right word to use here is preparation. So what we can see is that Ukrainians have been very well preparing themselves, and that is the key concept in order to react in a professional way.
Estonia is a country of less than 1.5 million people, and its armed forces are minuscule, barely 7,000 strong. In a hypothetical confrontation with Russia, its capabilities would be very limited. But after Russian forces attacked Ukraine, the number of volunteers increased to almost 30,000.
The Defense League is a voluntary-based military organization. Then the will of people is important. Training can be provided, but what we are based upon is the will.
Many here see Estonia's NATO membership as a guarantee against a possible Russian attack. But even so, Estonian military sources tell us the only way to guarantee the security of Russia's neighbors is by defeating Moscow and ending its policy of aggression.
You know, it's very simple. About outcome of this war in Ukraine. Ukraine must win, because otherwise the Russians, they only will have time to prepare for the next. And the next, they could be Moldova, could be anybody.
As the future of Europe is decided in Ukraine, Laurima and 30,000 other Estonian volunteers are preparing on their weekends for a moment that everyone here hopes will never come.
Anti-government protests are continuing across Iran following the death of a 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in police custody last month. Anger flared after the 22-year-old Iranian Kurd's death on September 16th, 3 days after she was arrested by morality police for an alleged breach of Iran's strict dress code for women. She had been arrested by Iran's police for unsuitable attire.
At Tehran University, students gathered to spell out the word blood in Farsi, demanding the fall of the Islamic regime. For 4 weeks, protests, many led by women, have gripped cities across Iran.
It's really impressive that for them, the wall of fear has been completely destroyed, and they have increasingly nothing to lose, and therefore they are willing to persist.
Past protests such as the 2009 Green Movement failed to bring down the government, but resentment now transcends political divides amid economic crisis and domestic repression, says analyst Benam Ben Teleblu.
Rather than advocating for one element of the regime, this is the population saying they're done with the regime in its entirety.
Dozens of protesters have been killed. The regime still has scope to crush the demonstrations, says Vaez.
It has not yet deployed the Revolutionary Guards, and so it still has a lot of repressive tools up its sleeve that it can use against the movement.
Britain last week followed the United States and Canada in imposing sanctions on senior figures in Iran's morality police.
That needs to be expanded across the European Union.
In Europe, female lawmakers and celebrities have cut their hair in solidarity with Iranian women. There have been protests in several cities.
We are here to be the voice of the people in Iran, and we are here to demand for the British government to speak up.
The demonstrations come as the US and European powers negotiate with Tehran over a possible return to the 2015 nuclear deal. French President Emmanuel Macron Wednesday condemned Iran's crackdown, but said France was fighting to prevent nuclear proliferation. The nuclear talks have failed and should be abandoned, argues analyst Teleblu.
That money, that deal, would enrich the regime's security apparatus, and that security apparatus is the same apparatus engaging in foreign aggression and in the domestic repression we've been seeing now for about 4 weeks.
Teleblu said the West could take practical steps to help the protesters, including the provision of satellite internet to circumvent government restrictions.
Sports coming up after this break.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design, with branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa. Our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today. Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Oh. Back, let's now get sporty. Stakeholders in Embu County have criticized poor leadership and inadequate finances to the sports departments, saying it has greatly affected the growth of talents. Led by the chair Athletics Kenya in the county, Stephen Jeru, stakeholders said this has always been a barrier for young people joining the sport.
However, there is more than what meets the eye as reviewed by Athletics Kenya chairman in Embu County, Mr. Stephen Jeru.
Katika mambo ya finances utapata pesa ziko mingi sana za sports, lakini zile zinafikia huku chini hakuna. Ndio sababu unaona we cannot nurture the talent, because kama sasa watu ambao wanatusaidia aswa katika Embu tuko na Kivenji Kirago, tuko na Frida na watu wengine wachache.
Jeru calls on the new government to appoint well-informed personnel in sports dockets, citing mistakes in the former administrations, where those appointed to lead these dockets lack the technical competence.
Ukiangalia kwa football na Shikanda is a coach na ndiye chairman wa AFC Leopards. So tunataka mtu ambaye anatakiwa kuongoza katika michezo awe mtu technical, ili awe akijua vile mambo yanaendelea chini, sio wakati wanaenda boardroom kwa mikutano hakuna kitu anajua, kila wakati tunalalamika.
On her side, Frida Karwani, who is a sports and youth affairs enthusiast, has emphasized the need to boost athletics to a level where the athletes become the main beneficiaries of their talents. She has also called on the government to curb corruption in athletics, which she says is the main problem facing sports at the grassroots level.
Lengo letu haswa ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba sports diplomacy inaweza kuinuliwa hapa Kenya, ndiposa tuweze kuwa na wanaspoti ambao wako na motisha. Ukiangalia Kenya, it's very endowed na wanaspoti, lakini ile spoti inasaidia tu watu kidogo. Hivyo tunaamini ya kwamba tukiendelea kufanya mazoezi na tukiendelea kuperform at the national na international level, tutaweza kupata wanaspoti wakiinuka zaidi na wakiweza kufaidika kutoka na zile talanta zao.
The challenges highlighted in athletics are with no doubt similar to issues facing other sports in Kenya. And now all eyes are on the prospective Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba to instill measures which will restore the status of sports in the country. Lincoln Chege, KUTV.
Scott McTominay drilled a stoppage time winner for Manchester United against Omonia in a match played at Old Trafford yesterday. The Red Devils had a dominant